Extra, extra, the Kentucky Wildcats win in Starkville. Been excited to say that since Saturday night at around 10 o'clock. We're going to talk about that and preview the Wildcats matchup with Texas A&M on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined as always by Carson Nash. Man, Carson, that was a great time watching that ball game on Saturday. Great environment where we were watching. We had a good time. Big win for the Cats.
Yeah, no, definitely a huge win. And Pope ends up picking up his fourth top 15 victory, which seems like more top 15 teams than that we've beaten in the past 5 years. So for him to start off 4-0 against top 15 teams is exceptional. And it was a hell of a night on Saturday. And we look to continue the dominance against top 15 teams on Tuesday night.
And Saturday. Heck, you go 2-0 this week, you're 6-0 against top 15 teams. I mean, that's crazy.
It's not the top 25, it's the Kentucky checklist.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Have you played Kentucky? If you have, you might be in the top 25. Also, we are 18 subscribers away from 2,000. Please help us get there. Remember, I mean, I think a lot of, hey, it's a press of a button, helps us out a ton. We would really appreciate that. We're really wanting to get to 2,000. That is our goal right now. So appreciate y'all. Hit that button. Helps us a ton. But, I mean, quick thoughts on this game from me. The first takeaway for me, obviously, and yes, everybody, I saw that you got a DM immediately after the game. And I deserve it. I deserve it. Jackson Robinson told me where to shove it with an absolute monster game against Mississippi State. And I mean, heck, to hell with what I said, with everybody that's, what I love about this is the kid just kept fighting, and he finally broke through. And what he proved with his 27 points, and it was efficient as well. We've seen him score 19 at, or 20, but it's been like 5 of 16. Like, it's not been efficient at times. This was efficient. To me, what it proved is that he's capable of doing it. I want to see him start to stack games. Now, the positive to me of this is I've said all along, I like the fact that we don't have a guy. We have a bunch of guys. And I don't think this one game changes that. So what I mean by that is I think that you still have a bunch of guys. On any given night, it could be Lamont. We've seen it be Lamont. We've seen it be Carl. We've seen it be Ortega. We've seen it be Jackson Robinson now. It can be anybody on any given night. And I love that about this team. That's what makes it so tough. But now knowing that Jackson can have a game like this is massive, because that means now you can get a game like this from Kobe, from Jackson, from Ortega, from Amari, from Andrew Carr. Heck, you can get it from Ainsley Almanor now. This was a massive game and win for this Kentucky team. So proud of Jackson. Seriously, I mean, there's a lot of people saying, concerned with his play, and he comes out and he said, shut up, watch this. And I love that. My other takeaway from this game was, hey, Kentucky can win on the road. Shut up. I love that. So Carson, what'd you think about this ball game?
Yeah, so it seems now, I guess Amari also told Jackson about having to watch Wildcats today, because every time we talk about them, they seem to do better. But yeah, Jackson, I mean, he really did not like what you had to say about him.
He gave me the bird.
Because
I saw it.
It felt like he had his first 25 points in like 20 minutes. Yeah. Like he had all of his points, it felt like, in the first half when he was unconscious. And then he continued his success in the second half, but it was more of an Ainsley Almanor show to shut it down, the Joker. But it was exciting stuff. And you're right. I mean, a road victory against a top 15 team, the one unknown about this team. And we proved that we could go win on the road in the tough environment and battle back and fight.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely was just so, I wrote an article today, and this was something that I kind of, I was thinking about, and I think that the Kentucky teams that we've been used to of old, it's these 5-star freshmen that have been followed around by video cameras and all this stuff. They're kind of used to this. You walk into the road environments, everyone's there to see you. I mean, like, reminds me of when it was you and I that went to go see Aaron Bradshaw and yeah, you
and DJ
and DJ and when they played at
Kentucky State.
Yes, Kentucky State. And the gym was packed. And like, they're used to that because they're these big time people want to come see them before they get to college. So they have kind of been born and bred into what being a Kentucky basketball player is, because they've kind of dealt with stuff similar to it for 2 years, a year or 2 years. These players on our team right now didn't know what it meant to be a Kentucky basketball player, which is you are going to get – I wrote in the article, this is a literal quote. I said, it's T-shirt night, it's free hot dog night, it's newspaper night. And, I mean, that's the reality of being a Kentucky basketball player. And it took these guys coming from Drexel and Farley Dickinson some time, San Diego State. I mean, heck, the gyms aren't always packed. You know what I mean? Like, it takes some time to get used to being a Kentucky basketball player. And I think that this game for me, I loved Ainsley with the newspaper after the game. This game to me proved that these guys are getting used to being Kentucky basketball players. And that's going to be huge down the stretch of SEC play.
100%. I mean, there's more than just when you're wearing that jersey, when the Kentucky letters are across your chest, I mean, that place is in there and they're wild and they want to beat you. I mean, you are the gold standard. They want to knock the king off the throne. And so you're always going to get everyone's best play and most physical play, most dedicated play. And so going into a road environment like that and picking up a win this big is huge for the season and huge for seeding.
It is. I just wanted to see that we could do it. The loss to Georgia, it looks like Georgia might just be a good basketball team. You know what I mean? Like, that could be the reality. They might just be good. Not to say that we shouldn't have beaten them, because we're better, but I'm not as grumpy about that loss as I was when it happened. We're still better. I still want them in Nashville, but the point stands of, I think they're a better team than we thought. This, you and I talked about it. I'm pretty sure we said it when we previewed the game on whatever day we did, Thursday or Friday last week. This game, you win this game, you throw that Georgia loss out the window. I mean, that was the reality. But I felt like you needed to win it, because I feel good about us against A&M and against Alabama. But at the end of the day, you got a top 5 and a top, or Alabama, they're still top 5. I know A&M's 11 right now. You still got 2 top 15 teams, 1 top 10 coming into town this week. So it's not going to be a cakewalk of a week, but also that's just what the SEC is this year, which we've reiterated time and time again. But I think that the way Ainsley Almanor played, to me, Kobe Bray had 3 points in this game. Travis Perry had 3 points. Brandon Garrison had 3 points. Your bench scoring was Ainsley Almanor, who made 3 3-pointers, gave you 11 points. And I loved that, he was hot to start the year, got a bit of a shooting slump. He's made a couple threes here and there. But this game, he got hot. And I think this is back to what we thought in the beginning of the year, Carson. On any given night, any of these bench players, any of these starters can give you a good game. In 11 points, it's 11 points, but that's 11, probably I'd say 8 more points than I would have expected to get from Ainsley in this game. And in the game where you win by 5 points, sounds like the difference maker to me.
Yeah. So, and not to mention, it takes the soul of another team when Ainsley Almanor, the 8th or 9th guy off the bench, comes in and hits 3 straight threes. You're like, oh my goodness, what? They've got 18 players that can come in and beat us. But for him to come in that crucial of a situation and take over the way he did is huge for this team, and going to be huge for this team down the stretch.
Yeah. There's no question. And this is a game. I really stand by that point of this. I think it's been an adjustment to be this much in the big time light of playing basketball at this university. And I think this game, it's just a vibe thing, man. The post game locker room, and it was Pope's 200th win, right?
Yeah, 200th career victory.
Congrats to Coach Pope.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just something about that post game vibe in the locker room that it just made me feel like this team has arrived to being a Kentucky basketball team. It was just a gut feeling I have. And I think you're going to see that once again. We're now 1-2 in true road games. I think you're going to hopefully start to see that number move in the more above 500 direction. Another thing I want to talk about that is completely unrelated to this basketball game. The post game video of Coach Pope going and talking to that fan in the wheelchair who couldn't get down. Man, I'll tell you this. That is the coolest thing. And the reality of it is there were cameras. Coach Pope doesn't give a rat's arse about those cameras. He's not doing this for that. That's who he is. I think everyone knows that. Everyone lives that. I just have so much respect for Mark Pope as a human being on top of how darn good of a basketball coach he is. I love that he's our coach and we get to root him on every day.
Yeah, and it's a direct correlation because his daily passion of his faith, his love for other human beings, just that in general translates to being a good coach and loving the community and being everything that a Kentucky head coach should embody. And I think that this is going to be the greatest hire Kentucky has ever had because, I mean, it's saying something right now, but the way he respects this community, the way he treats the people, the way he is so dedicated to this school, was a captain here that won a national championship. All the stars are aligned for Mark Pope, and it's going to be a special, special time with him as the head coach.
I mean, I'm fully with you on all that. I mean, it's just so there'll be times where he has a bad game plan or has a bad stretch of games, and we have to talk about it. We have to get on him a little bit, but it'll always be about basketball because who Mark Pope is as a human being is unmatched, and it's so damn fun to root for him. I mean, seriously, that's just the reality here. Carson, you got any other thoughts on the way the Cats played in this game before we move on to the A&M game?
Yeah, I had one, and it was kind of my key matchup, right? It was Lamont Butler and Josh Hubbard. And how about our boy? He made Josh Hubbard very inefficient. Hubbard only finished with 15 points. What did he finish shooting on?
5 of 16, 3 of 11 from 3.
Yeah, exactly.
But I tell you this, every one of those 11 times he went to shoot, I went, uh-oh.
Yep, every time.
Mm-hmm. And that little leg kick he does, I hate it. Oh, the little leg kick he does.
That one was not a foul. I don't care what anyone says. The one in the corner on Lamont was not a foul. He flung his legs out, and that was ridiculous. But I'm super proud of Lamont. He played awesome. Didn't shut him down. I knew you can't shut Hubbard down, but did about as good as you can against him. Lamont struggled a little bit on the offensive end, but I'll take that from a defensive display every single day. So kudos to Lamont.
I mean, I almost would say he did shut him down. He scored less than a point per shot attempt. He shot the ball 16 times and scored 15 points. I mean, I agree with you. He still scored 15, but I mean, heck, he shot the ball 16 times. I mean, even with the hand in his face, Hubbard with 16 shots is going to give you over 10 points. That's the reality. And so I mean, for what I was worried was going to happen, I'd say that we did shut him down. I mean, seriously, that's what I mean. True. You know, I think that's the case there. I want to talk about this stat that I talked to you about on the phone earlier, Carson. So I found this out. So Kentucky in our 3 losses. Now this is going to be like, oh wow, when we make shots, we win. Yes, but hear me out. So in our 3 losses, Kentucky makes 5.7 threes per game. In our 13 wins, we make 11.2 threes per game. So, I mean, that substantial difference to me, and what it tells me is that we aren't, and it's what we kind of already know, but we aren't doing the little things that help keep you win some ugly, gritty games where you don't shoot the ball well. I mean, that's a 5.5 3-point made difference in wins and losses. And that tells me it really sheds light on the rebounding and the physicality. It tells me that when we aren't making shots, the little things aren't keeping us in games. If we aren't making shots, we lose.
Coincide because, I mean, you won the rebounding battle 41-33. So, I mean, you're right. You win the rebounding battle, you shoot better. It kind of makes sense. Like,
and you win
games.
Exactly. So I thought that that was an interesting, and once again, not a surprising metric, but I mean, I think it just shows you. And there's a little concern there to me when it comes to winning this many games to win a national championship in a row. It's a little concerning, of course, to me. But we have time to get better and better in the physicality. And I think this is a great way to pivot into this Texas A&M talk, Carson. No better way than talking about rebounding and physicality. Texas A&M is the best offensive rebounding team in all of college basketball. They average over 17 offensive rebounds per game, which that's probably against like solid teams. There's a chance against us that gets up to the 25, 30 offensive rebound mark if we don't play better on the boards. At the end of the day, yes, shooting the ball well is going to matter. All of these metrics will matter, but if you don't get on the glass, you ain't going to win.
You're going to have to box out, and you're going to have to play with good position because Henry Coleman's in there starving. That dude is a freaking tank. And he's given us issues every year we've played them on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to make shots, of course. I mean, we need to do that regardless, but boxing out and working for those rebounds and probably sending more people to the glass in this game will be a big emphasis. And I mean, I look for us to keep improving on the rebounding side because a lot of that is shot making and hustle and hustle. I think we can improve in that category, and that'll help us a little bit on the glass. I don't know how much more like physical we're going to end up being. I just think hustle will help us a little bit. And because I don't see how much we're going to improve physically, because I saw us get thrown around again on Saturday night a little bit, but against A&M, you're just going to have to make shots, and that's going to end up being the difference in the game.
Yeah. What's scary and interesting about Texas A&M, you expect when you hear they're a great offensive rebounding team and the great rebounding team in general, you expect to hear they have a guy averaging 11 rebounds and the guy averaging 8. It's not how they are. Here are their top, I'm just going to read you their top like 7 or 8 rebounders based on rebounds per game. 6, 5.6, 5.3, 4.9, 4.8, 3.7, 3.5, 3.3. The reason that scares me more than just seeing one guy average a lot of rebounds everybody's rebounding. And that's why they're so good. There's a reason Texas A&M, every year, it's the same conversation. They're great at offensive rebounding. Buzz Williams preaches offensive rebounding. They are good at it. That's the reality. It's not a coincidence. They're there every year. They know how to slither and get rebounds and get off of box outs and get to those offensive boards. You have to watch film. You have to figure out what they're doing and find a way to stop it. And I believe Mark Pope, I believe he's going to do that. The question is going to be execution, and he can't help execution.
Yep. No, you're completely right. And you were saying to me earlier, there's some uncertainties with the status of Wade Taylor.
So Wade Taylor hasn't played in their last 2 games. Buzz Williams, I read from a Texas A&M, beat writer on Twitter. I guess he's very he doesn't love sports betting with sports, with college sports. So he doesn't give literally any kind of injury updates to kind of be like, well, screw you to sports bettors, I guess is what he's kind of doing based on that tweet I read, which is kind of funny. But here's the deal. After we release this, I believe tonight you're going to get that SEC injury report, similar to the one we got, where we found out, Brea's, what's going on with Brea? It's going to be the same kind of thing with this. And it's going to either say, one of 2 things. Wade Taylor's going to be not on it, questionable, or out. If I was a betting man, just based on vibes, I would say that he's not going to play tomorrow. Now, if he's on that injury report and is questionable, I bet he plays. That's just kind of the vibe I get. So we'll find out more tonight. But another interesting thing, and you just don't see this a lot, Texas A&M has 2 players that average more than 9 points. I mean, you don't see that a lot. They got Wade Taylor, who leads their team in scoring at about 15.7 points per ball game. And then their second leading scorer is a guy named Zurich Phelps, who absolutely torched Oklahoma for 34 points and then proceeded to score 24 against Alabama. So this week alone, he scored 58 points in 2 basketball games. He can score, especially when Wade Taylor's out. But I mean, what I wrote in an article this morning is when Wade Taylor's not out there, they become one-dimensional. It's stopping Zurich Phillips. They're both out there. I get a little more scared.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a situation that we're definitely going to be monitoring because Wade Taylor IV is a very talented guy, and would be a huge hit if he didn't play. But for the Zurich Phelps kid, to me, to kind of slow him down a little bit, I mean, he's only shooting 31% from 3, so it's not killer. And then he's shooting 67.6% from the foul line. So if you're gonna force him to shoot, honestly, just have him have tough looks. And I think the statistics are going to play out enough to where I think letting him beat you will end up working in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, he is a volume shooter. Against Oklahoma, he goes 6 of 10 from 3. Right? Against Alabama, he goes 1 of 6. And interestingly enough, when Wade Taylor's, so this is the Wade Taylor effect. So I'm going to read to you the last 5 games from Zurich Phelps. 0 of 0 from 3 in 24 minutes. Didn't shoot one with Wade Taylor out there against Texas. 2 of 2, 0 of 2, 2 of 4, 2 of 6, 0 of 4, 0 of 2. This high volume shooting for him is when Wade Taylor's not on the floor. So, I mean, in those 2 games, he was in the 2 games without Wade Taylor, he's averaging 8 3-point attempts per game. I'd say on the rest of the year, based on kind of the looks of this, it's more like probably 4.5, maybe 5. So Wade Taylor, as we talked about, is a very inefficient player at times, and he is going to be their main 3-point shooter if he's out there. But he is well known. I mean, he single-handedly waved by to Kentucky last year in Nashville. He is a Kentucky killer. He has been proven to do that.
He waved goodbye to me and Clay at the 6-minute mark. We were not having it.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I was, and it was funny. I was at the SEC tournament, the media gets to sit courtside, which is kick arse. And so you get to hear everything. You know, in Kentucky, we're up kind of in the corner.
They don't sell alcohol in the stadium.
Really?
Me and Clay had to sit on a thing outside of the stadium, but connected to the stadium, so we could still indulge.
Yeah, and Sprites. But Wade Taylor, and he's a crap talker down there. I'll tell you that, because I mean I heard him with my 2 ears here. I heard him, crap, and he was crap talking fans. It wasn't our players really; it was more fans. But I think not wishing an injury upon anybody. Don't want Wade. I think he's a good basketball player that we like seeing him in the SEC. But if he wanted to take one more game to get fully right for the rest of SEC play, wouldn't be upset about it.
Would not. And I think if that happens, that makes this game much more winnable. A lot more. I'd probably predict us to win by 10 plus.
Yeah.
If he's out.
I telling you though, I just get scared about him. Oh my goodness. Am I reading that? Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Here's where you need to learn about this A&M team without Phelps shot the basketball 29 times against Alabama and 25 times against Oklahoma. I don't know if I've ever seen that. He shot the basketball 54 times in 2 games. I've never seen that in my life.
That's absurd.
But what does that tell you, Carson? I mean,
did they think this guy's Steph Curry?
Well, no, but they think he's that's the only chance they have to score the basketball. Yeah. That's the reality here. He's the only shot they have to score the basketball.
The more we talk about this game, the more it comes down to me to all about offensive rebounding, because I genuinely think that Lamont and Ortega are going to take care of their guards. I always feel pretty confident in that category.
Yeah.
So it literally only for me comes down to offensive rebounding right now.
Yeah. I mean, so Texas A&M has the interesting. So they open up the year with a loss to UCF. They end up beating Ohio State. I know they beat us, but Ohio State's not that good. We played terrible. They're not that good.
Yeah.
They lose to Oregon, who is pretty good. They beat Creighton. I mean, Creighton is a fine basketball team. I mean, they're 10-6 right now. They were supposed to be better than they are. They're a good team. They're not great. Not a great win to me. In December, they beat Purdue, not good basketball team. They beat Oklahoma, who I still think's a tad bit overrated. They just lost to Georgia as well. I think that Texas is not good, who A&M beat. Plus, that's a rivalry for them at home. They were fired up. They lose to Alabama. Texas A&M's a good team, but I don't believe they're the 11th best team in college basketball. You can't convince me of that. But I like that they're ranked.
Watch out for though. Every time we have a big win, it seems like we lose one we probably shouldn't. And
we also haven't had back-to-back big games. We show up against in these big games. I mean, the numbers.
I know. And for me, on the outsiders look in, it's a big game. But the more we talk about it, I feel like we should win this game by 7
you're right.
14 points.
I just think that little 2-digit number in front of their name is going to be what we're going to be fired up regardless. I think that's.
Rupp should be rocking.
Oh, Rupp will be great tomorrow. 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. You going to come into town tomorrow for the game?
I haven't decided yet. I'm playing it by ear.
But this is a big week for us. So I am with you. Offensive rebounding is going, well, for us, defensive rebounding is going to be everything. They're actually not, when it comes to defensive rebounding, the numbers aren't insane. Like their offensive rebounding is where they crash the glass on offense. So we have
it sounds like they have this Phelps guy running around chucking up shots and he's missing everything and they're rebounding it and throwing it right back.
That's part of it. And I mean, it's the same thing with Wade Taylor. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I mean, we've seen him go 7 for 21 before. I mean, that's the reality. But I think that if you, and I'm not saying win on the offensive glass, but if you hold them to 10 second chance points, maybe even 14, I wouldn't want it to get above 15, but you hold them to less than 15 second chance points with how bad they are offensively. I just don't think that they're going to beat you. I just don't. I mean,
they only average 77 points a game.
They shoot 31% from the field. Now they're pretty darn good, defensively as well. Let's see where they are in KenPom. I don't know where they are. What's your guess on their defensive rating in KenPom? I'll tell you about 3 seconds.
I'd say top 30, but Mississippi State was really good, weren't they, defensively?
Mississippi State is 38th defensively. I think they dropped 7 spots because of what we just did to them. They were 30th.
Well, yeah, but Florida also did too. It just happened to play against Mark Pope's offense.
So Texas A&M's defense is ranked 13th. So they're good defensively. They are good defensively, but the way we play offense, I think we can score.
Too. Like it doesn't matter.
I don't worry about defensive rating because I think we can score. And I don't think they can score that well. So if we have a good defensive day and we're on the glass on defense, I think we win this game. If we don't, I think it gets interesting.
Yeah.
So
I'm totally there.
Did I go first last time? Give me a score prediction. Yeah. I think I did. Give me a score prediction and an MVP for this one.
Yeah, I got the Cats at home Tuesday night. Everyone get there, get some Rupperino ice cream in you at some point. But I got us kind of comfortably. I think we win 92-83. I think we win by 9, and I think the player of the game is going to be Ortega. He's been good for the past couple of games, but hasn't been the guy. I think he's going to be the guy.
Okay, I think that I think this is going to be a game. I think we're going to score way, way less, but I think we're going to win by more than you predicted. So I have I think we win this game 77-62. I just don't, looking at the metrics, they're good at one thing, and they're really good at one thing. I think that if you break down aspect of basketball by aspect of basketball, we're better at a lot more things than they're better than us at. I just think we win this game, especially if Wade Taylor plays. I'm going to get my confidence to win this game is probably 75% to 80%. If Wade Taylor plays, it goes down to probably 65%, maybe 60, because I think it gives him 2 offensive weapons instead of 1. If he doesn't play, we lock down Phelps and he shoots the ball 42 times and makes 8 shots. We're going to win this game. So that's my prediction. I think they're going to muck it up. They muck it up. They take a long time in the half court. I think we're going to struggle to get above 85 points.
And they're going to play physical. So if the officials are calling touch fouls, it could be a long game Tuesday night.
Yeah. No, yes, it could be. So I think I just don't see us getting past 85 points. I can see us getting in that 80 range, but not past 85. The MVP in this game, I think it's going to be Lamont, because right now I'm predicting Taylor to not play. And if he doesn't play, Lamont's job is to stop the one guy on their team that can score. And if he does that, we win. And I think we win by a substantial margin. So that's my prediction there. And then if he gives you 10, 12 points, some assists, some rebounds, I think he's going to play a big role in this game, but mostly for the defense, what we're going to get from him. So that is my prediction. Anything else before we get out of here today, Carson?
Shout out to Michael Collins and Jake Nash. Go Birds.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that's great. That made my day. So we will be back at y'all on, we'll Thursday it. On Thursday to talk about the win over Texas A&M, hopefully, and preview the Alabama game. And hopefully we'll be thanking y'all for 2,000 subscribers as well. So please keep hitting that button. Like we said, we're 18 away. Really appreciate y'all. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Big game tomorrow. Go Cats, and we'll see y'all on Thursday.